Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of the Bittersweet Uncomfyness podcast. Gratitude is an attitude that, if adopted and if lived by, so many doors unlock and we start seeing life in a different scope. We feel closer to our goal of happiness, of our goal of feeling a sense of purpose and having a sense for our lives. Through this attitude and through this mindset, we start to see the world completely differently. And this is today's episode. And as usual, I'm Joe. And I hope you're not comfortable. But if you are, then let's get uncomfortable together. Hi. As you can see, today's episode is taking place in a different setting. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know what I mean. If you're listening to it on Spotify, I'm recording this at home today because my friend and my producer, Amer, is not in town today. He's on vacation, so I thought to myself, I'll just do it in my own space, and therefore I'm delivering this episode today. I promise to deliver an episode every Wednesday, and I'm not going to break my promise, and I'm very, very excited for today's episode. In this episode, I will be sharing something that I recently dove a bit deeper into and started seeing more and more in my life and started understanding more and more why I am the way I am and why I want to do what I want to do and why I do what I do. And this episode is a very, very important one because I believe that it holds some part or some pieces of the puzzle that we all want to see finished, that we all are trying to have done, which is attaining happiness, which is seeing the world better every day and being ecstatic about it and being truly, truly, truly happy. This is something that we all want to experience in our lives. And I feel like this is one of the main purposes of why we live our lives the way we live our lives. We are all trying to make sense of it, and we are all trying to enjoy it because it's not going to last forever and we want to make the best out of it. Some people feel like trying to achieve happiness and trying to get ourselves there is indeed hard, and it is not an easy process because life has so many distractions nowadays, because we have so many opportunities and so many different doors opening every day. And it's very easy to get distracted in a world where you have everything you need right in your pocket, in your phone. And we will always feel like there are some more things that we want to have to be happy, or a certain lifestyle that we need to be living in order to feel a sense of purpose and to have fun while being here. But in fact, that is not the case. I believe that before the invention of social media and the invention of the internet, to be honest, or technology as a whole thing, people were able to be happier with less because they did not see people with more the whole time, or people who show off that they have more. And being one of the people who spends some time on social media, I have to be honest and say I don't use social media enough, even though it is one of the platforms that I might be needing in order for me to get this podcast to you people and to new listeners. But I feel like while on social media, I see so many things that I don't want to be seeing the whole time. I don't want to be confronted with. We are being fed information about other people's lives, and people are showing us their lifestyle that they want to show us. But we don't see the whole truth. And I see what negative effects this has on our generation and the generation after us. Because they believe that happiness is where we can travel the world, eat at the most expensive places, have the nicest cars and the biggest houses. This is now the definition or the vision and the goal of a lot of people from our youth, and they aspire to be as rich as they see people being on social media. And through that, it's very easy to fall into depression and to feel inadequate and to feel like you're not worth anything, or at least not as worth as someone who has built something on their own. But that is not happiness. That is maybe success. The things we see and this kind of lifestyle might be defined as success. But a lot of people who have what we perceive and see as the perfect life might be unfulfilled, might be more unfulfilled than most of us. And there are a lot of people who say, yeah, money doesn't buy happiness, but I would rather cry in a Lambo. I understand that point, I totally do, but at the same time, when you're sad, it doesn't matter where you are and what you have. You're just sad. It makes no difference. Maybe you feel more stable financially and you're not worried about your future because you feel like you're set. And this might give you a sense of comfort and ease, and maybe your sadness is not as bad. But a lot of people who have assets and money and fame turn to drugs because they cannot handle the pressures that come with this amount of success, as we might see it today. But for me, the most important success that I want to achieve in my life is being happy and seeing the people around me happy. And nowadays, the financial freedom and the stability plays a big part of it. I'm sure of that. But you can also be happy if you have just enough to live the way you want to live. Not the way you picture or you envision for yourself. But if you're able to eat and drink and have fun conversations and outgoings with your friends, and at the same time have your own space, I believe that you can still be happy. There are people with nothing happier than people with everything. And this is a concept that made me question this entire thing as a whole from the beginning. Why are some people so happy even though they have so little? Because I was also taught that by having more, you can have more happiness through our social media and through seeing what successful and happy and rich people are doing. But that is not always the case. I know people who on the outside live the most amazing lives, but on the inside have the biggest battles on a daily basis. This is not a joke. And I know people who, when you see them from the outside, you see them as content. They're fine. But those are people who are genuinely happy. They enjoy every moment they live, and they enjoy every second and every new challenge and every struggle as well. And those are people who are happy. Those are people who understood what happiness is. Happiness is not what you have or what you want. It's being comfortable with your life and being grateful for it. And that's where we come into this episode for today. Gratitude opens one of the first doors of happiness, because gratitude is the first step. It's like the key that unlocks a door. By being grateful, by actively looking for things you're grateful for, you're changing your perspective. You're starting to see life in a different way. For example, my life did not change much in the last couple of years. We moved from places, but it didn't change much in the sense of I had a complete do-over of my life. I still have the same friends, I still have the same outgoings, I still have the same routines, the same job. But I am happier because I realize that I have so many things that I can be grateful for every day. Every day, even bad days, are days where you can find something to be grateful for. On your worst day, I am sure you can find at least 3 reasons to be grateful. At least 3. If they didn't happen on that day, you have things in your life that you can always be grateful for. Once you start shifting your focus from I need more or I want more, and start seeing the things that you have that are already nice, that you're overseeing by focusing on your future the whole time, only then can you truly be grateful and content with everything. A lot of people say, yeah, I'm satisfied, but I will never be satisfied because I have enough, but I want more. That's completely fine. That's good. But they need to acknowledge and they need to be grateful for what they already have in order to get more and experience more gratitude in the future. It's like an addiction. It gets you addicted. Once you get addicted to the attitude of gratitude, everything starts changing because you start actively doing things or seeing more things or looking into positive sides of your life just to find things to be grateful for. Saying thank you is used so easily nowadays. Thank you, thank you. We don't give it its meaning, but thank someone for real for doing something for you. Don't just say the words. But when you say thank you, be grateful for what the person did. Don't just say it as a something. I see it a lot. A lot of people say thank you subconsciously nowadays. You just say thank you. But you see in their faces, they're not even focused on the moment, so they're not actually completely grateful. They just said it because that's what you say when your cashier hands you your bag or when your valet opens the door for you or whatever. But when you're genuinely grateful, it's the small thing. It's looking the person in the eyes and telling them that you're actually grateful for what they did for you, even though it's the smallest thing in the world and probably their job. Sometimes it's their job. The cashier is there to do this. But I can still give him a genuine thank you because he helped me. I wanted to get something and he literally helped me get that. I would have gotten it from another cashier, definitely, but he was the one who was serving me on that day or charging me on that day. And for that, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that he was there and gave me my things. I'm thankful for every little encounter I have with someone, every word that someone tells me. And by being that and by focusing more on gratitude, you start looking more for places of gratitude, for things to be grateful for. And by doing that, this addiction intensifies. And I think this is the healthiest addiction you can have next to fitness, next to taking care of your body and your mental health. This is one of the best addictions you can have. Being addicted to gratitude is the only kind of addiction where you'd be lucky to be addicted to that, because this literally means that whatever happens, you always find something to be grateful for. A lot of religious people have that always. Always. When they have a tough day, they end it by saying thank you to God and they pray to God, thanking Him for allowing them to live, to eat, whatever they're thankful for. And it makes life easier for them and they're more content and more happy and even more relaxed because they know that there is still a good and positive side to life. And often we tend to lock ourselves in our own misery and we stop looking for the light. And once that happens, it just goes downhill from there. It just starts getting worse and worse and worse, and we don't stop for a moment to see anything good, and that's when we lead ourselves into depression. Because we literally stop seeing anything that's good and we start focusing only on the bad. And I talked about this, I think, in 2 or 3 episodes, where when you start focusing on the bad, you will see way more bad. And once you start focusing on the good and the positive and the love, you start seeing that more. It's like when you get a white car and you start seeing a lot of white cars. It's because you're focused on seeing white cars now. And it's literally the same. You could be sitting in the bus or in a restaurant or whatever. If you're focused on the negative, you will see the people who are screaming, the kids who are screaming, the people who are talking on the phone, the people who are fighting, or in a restaurant, the people who are dropping their forks or the glasses that are broken. But when you start shifting that and you start looking at the positives, you might see in that same setting, just by looking somewhere else or by focusing on something else, you start seeing beautiful things. You might see a daughter playing with her dad in the bus, having the time of her life, being so grateful to just be next to her parent. Or in the restaurant, you might see a couple with so much love between them, or a person helping an older person get to the table or go up the stairs or down the stairs, you start seeing things to be grateful for and things that will make you smile. I saw it from my own life. I'm not just saying this because I read it in multiple books and blogs or whatever. I also experienced it. I started literally seeing more good in my life, and through that, more good started entering my life and started presenting itself right in front of my face. Wherever I go now, I see beautiful things and beautiful encounters and amazing people. Even though I live in, according to statistics and the ratings of some kind of organization, I live in the second unfriendliest country in the world. But for me, I don't feel that. I used to say this is so unfriendly here. But now I'm seeing so much positivity. Of course, when the negatives arise and they're right in front of your face, they're there and you see them, but you don't see them as bad anymore. Because you look at it, but then again, you shift your focus to something that you want to look at instead of the negative. And by shifting that and by being more in control of those situations, you set yourself free of falling into the loop of pain or negativity or bad emotions or whatever. So you literally prevent yourself from just crumbling down. So be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for small things in your life. Through that, you will always be more grateful for everything that comes. And it starts with the simplest kinds of things. Literally, I started a new diary. This diary literally asks me questions, and I recommend it for every person who wants to go on a nice journey. It is called the 6-Minute Diary. I am not sponsored by them, and I truly did not expect myself to promote this fast, because I literally just got it a couple of days ago and I just finished the introduction. But what the introduction did to me, this introduction, it was 76 pages of preparing for this diary. And then when you do your first diary entry, you're ready. They get you ready. And what this diary does is it focuses your attention back to what matters, which is gratitude, which is the good deeds, which is the positive affirmations. It helps you take control of your life again. And by doing that and by making you focus on the good things, it's incredible, because I truly have no words. I started literally a couple of days ago, I started reading it, and in the last couple of days, I had the most beautiful situations I've ever had in my life. Every day, that for the past 5 or 6 days, every day something is happening where I feel this genuine sense of happiness and gratitude, just because I know where to look, just because I know how to look and how to save it for myself to be able to write it in my diary. So I'm actively working on that every second of the day, but it doesn't feel like I'm trying anything. It's just natural, because I already had that and now it's just intensified. And this is why I'm sharing this with you, because being grateful is amazing. It's freeing and it makes you feel like you're safe. It makes you feel like it's not that bad after all. And it makes you realize that whatever is bothering you is not your entire life. You still have aspects to be positive about and to be happy about. And I talked about this as well in the last episode, where I said, even if someone you love passes away, your whole life shouldn't stop. It shouldn't just pause, because you still have good things going on. We mourn and we feel the pain and we might get emotional, and it's healthy to do that. It's healthy to feel this. But again, by putting ourselves too much into the mourning characteristic, or too much in this dwelling and beating ourselves up, the less time we have to look at the things that were going good, because before you got that news, something was going good in your life. And sometimes it's one news that just breaks your whole world apart. But it shouldn't take over your entire life. it's one thing that happened. Sometimes it's a huge, so it takes a big chunk, and sometimes it's not that big. But it's not the whole pie. It's always a piece. And the pie is still there, and you can still look at it, and you can still live it and love it and enjoy every moment of it. It's not unfair, and it's not unhumane to do that. Instead, I think that's exactly the most humane way to deal with life. Because, as I always say, this life, your life, is only about you and what you make out of it. Only about you means making yourself happy. And if you're a person who wants to see the people around you happy, then you will do that. And you will achieve that by being happy on your own. But realize this and understand that you only have this one chance to live the most awesome life you can in whatever circumstances your life has put you in. Whether you see yourself as a low-class person and you don't have enough money or whatever, and society doesn't see you, who the hell cares? Who cares? If you're a working class person, if you're a high class person, who cares? It's your life, and your life also comes to an end. And when it ends, you will be one of the forgotten. So make the best out of it. Be grateful for being here. If you can't find something to be grateful for, start for being grateful that you're here, that you were able to meet some people that you met, that you have some friends that you have a family. Some people wish to have what you have. Always. Whatever you have, a person out there wishes to have that. And whatever they have, other people wish to have that. So it's a cycle. And we all wish to have something we don't have. Instead of being grateful for what we do have, being grateful for something you have does not mean not wanting more. I understand the ambition. I am an ambitious person myself. But I pride myself in saying I am also grateful for what I have. I know I want more, and I know I will do my best to get more. But I don't forget that what I have is also remarkable. I have my life, I have myself, I have my friends, I have my family. And I have my space. I have my life. This is the most important one, that you have your life. And you shouldn't just throw that away because you want something else. Gratitude unlocks a lot of doors. And by choosing 3 to 5 things a day that you're grateful for, and by writing them down, by manifesting that you are finding things to be grateful for, you will automatically start finding things to be more grateful for, or more things to be grateful for. I see it myself. And there's also this one tip of also writing down your good deeds of the day, which will automatically also drive you to become a better person, or try to become a better person, because you want to remember good deeds you did on that day. So automatically, without even thinking, subconsciously, you will start doing things to be grateful for and to see as good deeds that you did, because those are moments that will make you proud of yourself. Once you start writing them down, every time you write something, you'll be proud that you wrote this, first of all, but most importantly, you will be proud that you actually think this, that you're actually grateful for this, or that you're actually doing this, or you actually did this good deed to that person and you made them happy and you made their day, or you made them grateful, because you know what gratitude does to you. So start by trying to write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. Stop this episode if you need to for a couple of minutes. Sit down, take a piece of paper, or even take your phone out, turn off the notifications, and just find 3 to 5 things you're grateful for right now. Whatever they are. Whether they happened today, yesterday, or it's having someone special in your life, or having something special in your life. Just write 3 to 5 things down. And now start doing that every day. Every day. And try to challenge yourself to not always write the same things. But if there is something you want to write multiple times, write it. Write it every day. But try to add a variation, add some new things. that you're grateful for, because by that you start widening your scope and you start looking in different places and actively finding things. And I promise you, at the beginning it might feel hard or a bit awkward once you start writing it, but it is a process that you get into incredibly quickly, and you start wanting to just write them down whenever you feel them. Like every day you feel like, I want to write down things I'm grateful for, or I want to be grateful for more things. If you feel like you're not grateful for enough, start looking around you, start exploring your life, seeing, what do I have now that I completely take for granted? Sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a connection with someone, sometimes it's a connection with your sibling, sometimes it's a car. We take a lot of things for granted. We buy new things, we love them for the first week or 2 or 3 or maybe a month or a year, but after we get used to it. And once you get used to it, it's the same with relationships. You start taking it for granted, and that's when you stop being grateful for it and you start treating it worse. So your phone, when you get it, you put it very softly on the table, you take very good care of it because you're very grateful that you have it now. But after a while, it's been with you for a while, so you start just throwing it around, or it starts falling out of your hand more often. It's the same with your car. Some people say, I'm not going to smoke in my car, and half a year later they're smoking in their car. So you start taking things for granted. Even partners, sometimes in relationships, they start being taken for granted. You don't appreciate and you don't thank them enough for being there because you got used to it. And by doing that, you literally are robbing yourself of one more reason to be happy, because being grateful means being happy with something. You cannot be grateful and sad at the same time. You could, if it's two different things. But once you're grateful for something, that means this thing gives you value, gives you purpose, gives you a sense of joy. And this means it makes you happier. So start finding things that make you happy. Start finding things that you should be grateful for, that you maybe never thought about in that way. When you start proactively looking, they start flying at you. All of them at once. So the 5 main takeaways of this episode are: being grateful more in life will automatically make you happier because you start looking for things that make you happy or add a sense of joy or a sense of value into your life. The second point is, by learning to find things to be grateful for, you open up your scope. You start looking at situations differently, at people differently. And by doing that, you automatically also start looking at the positive side of life more than the negative. And by doing that, you will see that the life you live has so much to offer that you were probably blinded before and couldn't see because you were too focused on something else. Tip 3, or number 3, is try to write 3 to 5 things you're grateful for today. Just do it today. Whenever today, it doesn't matter. But find 3 to 5 things. If you find more, write them down. If you find less than 3, write them down. Write whatever it is. Whether it's that you had a cold glass of water today. Whatever it is, the smallest thing or the biggest thing, it doesn't matter. Just anything that you think about and say, hey, I'm grateful that this happened, or I'm grateful that I have this. Point 4 is also try to reflect on your day today before you go to bed. Try to ask yourself, what good deeds did I do today? Did I do something good? Did I do something to make someone else happier, or to make my family more comfortable, or whatever? Just ask yourself and try to find a couple of deeds you did. I'm sure maybe you held the door open for someone and you gave them a smile. That's also a good deed. Giving a smile in general is considered making a good deed, because when you smile at someone, you're literally giving them a piece of your happiness, if it's a genuine smile. So my good deed is, I talked to the cashier today a bit longer. This is why my example before was about the cashier, because I talked to them a bit longer and we got into a conversation. We both were smiling. We both were enjoying this conversation. And I'm sure she doesn't have that very often in her day, but this is something that she could be grateful for at the end of the day, because it was really, really beautiful how we talked. And the smile she had on her face was a very genuine one. Even though before I talked to her, she had the very normal poker face, I'm working. But after we talked, I saw her smile, I saw her light up, and she wished me a wonderful day. I wished her the same back. It it made me very grateful to see her this happy, and at the same time, it made me happy to know that she's grateful probably. So this is one of the good deeds. A good deed doesn't have to be you help someone cross the street or something very humongous, or you helped someone to turn around and not jump from the bridge. It doesn't always have to be a humongous thing. The smallest details matter, because when you start seeing it in small things and appreciating it in small things, when big things happen, the magnitude of happiness and joy and gratitude that you'll feel then is a completely different one probably, and it's a very bigger one. So this is why I say try to find the good deeds you do on a daily basis, and if you realize that you don't do as much as you would want to do, you will actively, even though subconsciously, start doing that. Like you will not try to be a good person, you will automatically start becoming a better person and start becoming more of who you want to become. Point 5 is being addicted to gratitude can and will have a huge impact on your life and on your own happiness. Because, as I said in the episode and the whole time actually, is when you start to just focus on good things, more good things are there to be seen. So more happiness will flow and more positivity will happen, and more positivity will come into your life. So try to get addicted to gratitude. It is the most beautiful addiction in the world, and it really, really benefits you more than you think. I'm very grateful for everyone who's listening to this podcast. I'm very grateful for having this podcast. And I'm also grateful for myself for keeping my promise of delivering an episode a week, of doing this and of following through with it, because it's making me proud of myself. And this is exactly what I talked about in episode 3, pride. When I make myself proud, I feel grateful for that, and this drives me to be happier with myself, feel like I have a sense of purpose, and you guys are making it an amazing journey. Every person who contacted me after listening to an episode just fills my heart with love, and I'm very thankful for the stories you share. So there are a lot of things I'm thankful for, and I'm sure you have a lot of things to be thankful for too. As usual, if you wanna connect, everything will be in the description, my Instagram, my TikTok, and I'm very excited to hear from you guys, your opinion, and I love you all. Take care and see you all next week.